So, it started back in 2019 with a leadership program when I realized that I'm not only very limited aware of my body, I don't ever actually think about my body. I don't really think about how I physically feel. And I was actually, in fact, completely disconnected from my body. So what happened at this leadership program is that we were tasked with an exercise where you had to lie down on a brown piece of paper. And then your fellow attendee with a nice thick pen would draw a trace around your body. And as I was lying there, I was thinking to myself, as a professional, I have so many more interesting and important things to do with my time. This is just weird. But okay, I was lying there on a brown piece of paper. And then we were tasked to get up, and we had to then indicate what part of our body seemed to be the most used or the most active. And I did the task, and when I got up to look down at the piece of paper, I saw that in my particular case, everything is dominated by my mind. And I mean, it's obvious because your brain is the central control center for all the functions of your body. But what I realized when I look at this picture is that I never actually notice the rest of my body. I don't actually think about how I physically feel. Unless I'm pertinently ill, I've got a headache or a stomach bug, I just don't think about my body. And the problem with this is that I would actually treat my body as if it's some kind of a machine. It just runs behind this control center called the brain. And the more I thought about this, the more I realized that actually I tend to get ill quite often. I have a bit of volatile weight gain and then weight loss. And I would suffer from burnout once or twice a year. And this got me thinking, this volatile relationship I was having with my body. So I wanted to research this, and I just wanted to get a bit more of a scientific perspective on it. And I was actually quite surprised to learn that there are numerous studies that prove this connection between the mental and the physical. And I mean, we've all heard about the mind, body, and soul connection. But it's as if you don't really think about it. What exactly does it mean? And as I did my research, I came across a paper by the American Heart Association. And they actually make a comparison. They take it even further, saying that there's a connection between the mind, the heart, and the body. And they explain that the three are independent, but they're also interconnected. So if the one gets ill, it can actually affect the other two. And in one particular case, they saw that if your psychological health was actually not great, it could affect the cardiovascular health. And this was in some patients. So I mean, the evidence is there of this connectedness. I, however, believe that it is definitely a very personal process for every individual to make this particular connection. And you see, the problem with me having been so disconnected in the past is that I would do these really silly things, like I would read books about the habits of successful people, or I would watch some inspirational fitness guru on social media. And then I would decide things like, in order for me to be successful, to have better energy, and to just be a better person, I need to do things like get up at 5 in the morning, and then I need to hit the treadmill, and then I must down like 3 different nutritious smoothies, and I must even yell seize the day as I get into my car to go to work. And you see, the problem with this is that all of this was completely mentally driven. I never actually asked myself, do you enjoy drinking a ton of green stuff? And the problem is that the reality would sink in, and I would be doing this for 2 to 3 weeks, But then life would happen and I would get busy again. I would have parties, I would have several year-end functions, and then I fall out of this routine. And then I would say to myself, you are never going to get anywhere with this bad attitude and this tardy attitude and these bad habits. I really started with the self-criticism. And the reality is that neither these efforts nor my personal lectures ever resulted in any sustainable positive outcomes. And what I realized that day when I was looking at the brown piece of paper is that I never bothered to ask myself, how do you physically feel? What are you physically capable of? What do you physically want to do? And I then started this process of trying to connect with myself physically by just becoming more aware of my body. And as I started to do this, I just generally started to feel better. I didn't feel take over the world better. I just felt somewhat more grounded. And as time went on, I realized that I actually struggled less to want to get myself to eat healthy and to want to get myself to want to exercise. And I was just generally more engaged with my body. I also took the time to actually look at myself in the mirror and to face the reality of this is what you look like. This is me. I can't change anything. Yes, I can improve certain aspects, but this is me, and I need to embrace my body and what it enables me to do every day. And what I learned from this connecting experience is that I'm not the kind of person that wants to get up at 4:30 in the morning and yell carpe diem, you know. I am not that kind of person. I've also learned that I'm a human being. I have good days and I have bad days. And when I have good days, I try to be creative and productive. And when I have bad days, I explore it and I let it be and I just accept it. And no, I don't choose to fall into a state of permanent bad habits. I rather choose to embrace brief moments of not the best habits. So when I have one of those ridiculously busy weeks where you have takeout for 3 nights in a row and absolutely no exercise, I wholeheartedly embrace it and I enjoy it. But then the next few days or the next week, I pick up, I rest, and I move on. And I try to do better. So this experience essentially taught me 2 things. And the first is that self-discipline no longer means self-criticism. It means striving for balance. It is okay if you are not on optimal performance every day, as long as the overall trajectory of your efforts are upwards. It's okay if the road is not 100% straight. And secondly, in a world that is filled with AI and data and robots and technology, I choose to love being human. I embrace being human because it means that I'm filled with mental, physical, and emotional noise on a daily basis. It means that when I wake up in the morning, I don't feel exactly the same every day. But that also means that I can come up with new ideas and creations and innovations every single day. So I truly embrace just being human. And as I said earlier, I do believe that it really is for every person to make this connection for themselves. But I would like to encourage you to just take a moment and to actively think, how are you physically feeling? How are your feet feeling? Your legs? Is your stomach maybe sensitive or sore? Just take that moment. I'm not necessarily saying you have to go to the extent of stillness where you have to meditate. I'm personally not particularly great at it. But you just need to really start thinking more about your body. And also very important to be kinder and to appreciate your body. Because at the end of the day, your body is the greatest gift you have. And it is also the greatest instrument you will ever own. Thank you.